Look into my eyes, and your everything will be revealed.
Hello again everyone, and welcome back. My name is Sint, and I'm here to share with you my build for Thea Ring of Blades. This build is right now very much in its early mapping setup, and still is more than capable of fully clearing everything up to tier 7 Traveler, and even mapping at base tier 8, although at a more inefficient speed. The setup you just saw in the showcase, and that I'm going to be talking about, uses no unique relics or memories, and all the uniques I'm using are usually common drops or able to be target farmed from watchers. For that reason, you shouldn't have any issues getting your hands on them. If you are on trade, you can also look to use some of your FE to get them on the trade house. So let us start with our item setup. For our items, let me start talking first on the uniques that I'm using. We are using a Glacial Traveler. This is an adaptation that I've done for the build because I'm on SSF. This allows me to convert 50% of the physical damage that I'm dealing into cold. We want to convert 100%, and then I have another 40 on the gloves. That brings me up to 90% conversion, so I'm not exactly there where I want to be, but it's very good still for the investment of just 2 mods on a couple of pieces of gear. I would not recommend you to use this if you can avoid it. If you're on trade and you can optimally, you want to get your conversion on a couple of slates. You can get conversion to cold from Goddess of Knowledge slates, conversion to fire from God of Might, and conversion to lightning from Goddess of the Hunt. Try to convert 100% to whatever element, it doesn't really matter, unless you're using a specific aura that you want to leverage, like a precise aura that you might have or not. In that case, you might want to convert to a specific one, but realistically, for the setup that I'm going, it doesn't really matter. Next, I'm wearing a Pale Mist Embrace. I got a very nice corrosion on it as well. You don't need it, it doesn't make or break the build. You can just use a regular Pale Mist Embrace and we'll do the same thing. We are also using a Chain of Resistance. Here we get quite a bit of extra damage to single target when we haven't defeated an enemy. Got a corrosion on that as well, so very good. The max life doesn't do anything for us. The skill radius is nice because it makes the overlapping even easier, but the life, the restored mana on the feet, and the attack and cast speed does nothing. So it's a nice item, but might be swapped later on. And finally, I'm using a Sky Devourer. In this case, would rather use an Insight Armor, but any of the three will work. So if you have one of the others, that's fine. Using it mostly for the area damage and skill radius. And it allows us to, with the Insight Armor, it gives us a big amount of max energy shield, which we are trying to stack as further as we can for our defensives. On our rare pieces, here on the helmet, we have just energy shield, a bit of area damage, resistances, and then I crafted a couple of low stats of crit damage and skill radius. In fact, the skill radius is not necessary here. We could have gone with something else a bit more offensive or a bit of resistance if we want as well. On the gloves here, we have a +1 base that I've stuck with. This also comes with a 40% conversion of Fizz to Fire. This is the second mod that I'm getting. Then we have the energy shield on the prefixes as well. On the suffixes, they're a bit weaker. We have Int, which doesn't do much for us. We have chance to deal double damage, which is nice, and erosion resistance. On our boots, we have max energy shield base as all the bases we want. Then we have erosion resistance and movement speed on the suffixes. You want to go as fast as possible. Really, this is basically a walking simulator build, so we want to just fly through the maps as quickly as possible. And then on the prefixes, I went with elemental damage crafted, energy shield, and physical damage to cold damage. I believe this is calculated before the conversion is done, so it should be working for the build. If you know it isn't, do let me know and I'll add it to the comments below. On our other ring, we have added flat 2 spells, which is nice. We have spell damage, and then we have triple resistance on the suffixes to try and cap our resistance, especially erosion, which we still don't have capped as of right now. Optimally, on your rings, you'd get maximum tenacity blessings on both of them, so you can increase both your tenacity and your focus blessings, because you take the note on your trait that allows you to increase your focus blessings that way. For our weapon, as you can see here, we have double flat 2 spells on the prefixes as well as area damage. We then have spell critical strike rating, and I got very lucky and got max channel stacks. And lastly, I crafted spell critical strike damage. We really want to get on your staff. It needs to be a tin staff specifically. You really want to get yourself max focus blessings and max tenacity blessings. That's a single mod. It comes with both of them, and you should get that as soon as possible. All the focus blessings and extra blessings that you can get on your gear are going to be a big significant increase on all of your damage, so you should aim for them as soon as possible. For our passive trees, as you can see, we go with Goddess of Knowledge, Magister, and Elementalist. We go with Chili and Insight. On Magister, we go with Bunch and Barrier of Radiance. And on Elementalist, we go with Focus and Penetrating. Penetrating is the reason we are trying to get all of our damage converted to an element. This allows us to make use of this node as much as possible. Otherwise, if you don't have the conversion right now, you should just use Peculiar Vibe, as Penetrating is doing nothing for you. If you'd like to copy the trees as they are as follows. On our statue of the new god, the Divine Slates, as you can see, it's not even properly filled, but I haven't gotten many of them right now. This one gives us some cooldown recovery speed, which is quite nice for our realm, our trait from Wisdom of the Gods Thea. But that's the only thing that we're really getting from here, and we get some crit strike damage from every point in chaos and a bit of skill radius. On this one, we have a bit of damage, some energy shield recharge rate, aura effect, and once again a bit of skill radius. This one, the base stats are quite nice. We got double crit strike rating and crit damage. We have a bit of additional max damage as well per point of chaos, skill radius, and 4% spell critical strike damage per focus blessing owned. This is going to be very good once we invest a lot into focus blessings, and this starts to stack up very high. This is going to give us a lot of damage. It's a very good trait to get. And finally on this one, we have a bit of crit rating, a bit of spell damage and chance for spell damage to deal double damage, more crit rate, sealed mana, and the last one doesn't do anything. Finally, on our traits, memories, and relic. Firstly, I go on the 35 row, I go with Predicted Harvest. This allows us to get a lot of blessings whenever we gain any blessing. And Divine Punishment, our trait, does increase the chance for our main skill to deal double damage by a lot when it consumes max focus blessing. Here I go with Predicted Hope. This gives us a lot of cooldown recovery speed as well as increased damage per divine blessing consumed whenever we use our next main skill. You can get Predicted Sacrifice on one of the legendary memories, and if you can get it, is a very good thing to get. Increases our damage by quite a lot. Finally here I went with Farewell Prophecy, and this is the one you should go with the moment you get a single agility blessing or tenacity blessing maximum increase. You should swap to this immediately. It will increase your damage by quite a lot. And the further you invest into it, the more damage you're going to get. For our relic, this is the one I'm using right now. It gives us one maximum focus blessing whenever you consume 30 stacks of any blessing for 5 seconds, and we also get a bit of additional damage whenever Divine Punishment consumes fully stacked blessing. Our memories. Here I have quite a bit of movement speed as well as damage increase per blessing that was consumed up to 50. On this one, the same increase but up to 70% is a tier above, and a bit of skill radius. And on the last one we have even a bit further, same tier but just a bit higher, and a chance to gain tenacity and agility blessings whenever we receive a focus blessing. So as you can see, these can be vastly improved. There's a couple of legendary memories that you can slot in that will increase your damage by quite a lot, and if you can get them either in trade or in SSF and you have them because they dropped for you, that's great. You should socket them in and it will do a lot of work for you. As you can see on our main skill, we are using Overload. This is gonna even increase further in value the moment we get up to 8 focus blessings. Then we have Slow Approach, added physical damage, GMP and LMP. The projectile supports here are gonna be there to increase our area of effect, not actually increase our projectile count, because Ring of Blades scales area of effect with projectile count, and with that it allows us to overlap all of our blades in the middle, allowing us to hit the enemy with all of the blades at the same time. Here we have 4 start with defense layers, Arcane Circle with Mania and Rhythm, Mana Boil with Well Fought Battle, and I will add Mania to this as well to increase its effect. On our auras, as you can see, we're using Energy Fortress, Precise Projectiles, Acuteness Imbue, and Elemental Amplification. If you don't have a conversion to elements instead of Elemental Amplification, you want to use something like Erosion Enhancement or potentially Weapon Amplification. On our life, we have Trigger while channeling, linked to a Fixate. This allows us to mark our enemies as well as giving us an increased chance to deal double damage, and then we have Elemental Resistance. On top of that, we also have an innate curse setup with Elemental Destruction and Magic Source. We need the Magic Source to sustain our mana, and this one is at level 20. The curse here is Elemental Destruction because I'm converting into multiple elements. You can use a curse that is for a single element if you're converting all to the same element. If you're not converting, you can use the physical curse. And yeah guys, that's pretty much it for the build. As for damage, as of how much damage it's doing right now, if we come here to the dummy, we turn our buffs on, we put our skill on, and as you can see, it is doing somewhere around 500 million damage. With the setup we have right now, it's a very weak setup, it's very early into the game, but it allows us to do a lot of damage, and it's very easy to just get the character rolling and steamroll all the way to tier 7s and start dipping your toes in tier 8. And I hope this serves you well. If it did, leave a like and a comment, subscribe to the channel for further content, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.